We are live, and this is day 15 of tasting a new Canadian wines every day until we hit the 1,000 subscriber. So I am Carl. We're tasting Canadian wines every day, around 2,000 Canadian wine, different Canadian wine every year. And today it is Riesling Day, International Riesling Day. So welcome everyone, wine lovers around the world, especially our Canadian wine lovers. We're gonna have a nice conversation about Riesling. What is our very favorite Rieslings in Canada? Who produce fantastic Riesling? Why do we produce fantastic Riesling? Why I think that we are world class here in Canada in our winemaking of Riesling. But first and foremost, if you haven't subscribed, hit the bell below and join the Carl's Wine Club community. We are having a lot of fun talking about Canadian wines. So, happy Riesling Day. Happy International Riesling Day. What a beautiful day to celebrate. And we love Riesling here. We love Riesling in Canada. We produce some fantastic Rieslings, especially in Niagara, I would say, which is the real mecca of Riesling in North America, I would say. And here in British Columbia, on our side in the Okanagan Valley, we also have some fantastic Riesling producers. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to pour two Rieslings in my glass, two very different style of Riesling. That's what I wanted to showcase to you today. The little sweeter style, or the drier, more austere style of Riesling. So we have that here from the same producer, from Mary Nissen Winery in Niagara on the Lake. We have the regular here, the regular Riesling, the Piccone Vineyard Riesling, single vineyard with a little bit more sweetness, a little bit more roundness, something a little bit more approachable. And we have the Platinum Series Riesling on the both on 2022 vintage, which is bone dry at 1 gram of residual sugar, something much more as, like, I would say, austere, I would say linear, vibrant, energetic, and sky high acidity, which is a big feature of Riesling. Usually, that's what makes Riesling ageable. That's what makes Riesling what they are, because the acid and the sweetness of Riesling will balance each other and will provide something that, depending on the level of acidity, which is more approachable or more on the austere side of the equation. So, I mean, on the international level side, we can say, like, the two homeland of Riesling, it's probably definitely Germany, especially in the Moselle region, which is probably one of the most iconic Riesling region, alongside Alsace in France. And these two regions produce some very different style of Rieslings. In Germany, we can go from that very dry and austere style all the way to the cabinet and the sweeter style of Riesling, and in Alsace as well, with wine with more texture. Especially coming from some of the Grand Cru. Riesling is a very fascinating type of grape. There's so much that we can do with that in terms of sweetness level. And sometimes I feel like with with our wine lovers, with the people who support Carl's Wine Club and all of the wineries in Canada, Rieslings, it's a love affair. You either love Riesling, you either dislike Riesling, but I mean, Riesling is a category of wine who's very growing fast right now in Canada. And I'll tell you a reason why. It's because, holy smoke, we have some outstanding Riesling producers. We have old vine Riesling in multiple places, especially in Niagara, which creates and which provides some amazing material for a winemaker. And I mean, only in Niagara, I can name what 10 producers, the tip of my finger right now, who are worth the discover, like talking about like Cave Spring Estate, Sue Staff, which is to my opinion the queen of Riesling. So Vineland Estate, which Brian Schmid and his family were very central in bringing the Weiss close from Germany with Hermann Weiss and bringing the clone here to Niagara. And the planting happened, and like many wineries in Niagara have planted their vineyard, I would say probably in the mid 80s, early 90s, with the Weiss clone provided from Germany. And Brian Schmidt at Vineland Estate was right the center front of that operation, which created a beautiful center for Riesling in Canada. And to me, Brian and his team at Vineland are one of the very best. The Elevation Riesling from Vineland is every year one of the very best. Amazing price point as well. So Vineland is one of them. And when you look at what I have behind me, like I mean, the Ferox on in Niagara on the Lake is one of the very with. I mean, when you have a German owner with Fabian Rice and Stephanie Rice at Ferox, I mean, you make Riesling here in Canada, German style, but also like I mean, these Rieslings from Ferox are absolutely fantastic. I mean, I mentioned Suan, which we had the pleasure to feature some back vintage Riesling with her Riesling, but incredible quality and ageability. Remember tasting all the way back to 2004 from Suan, and these Riesling are still like very, like I think we also have some 98 or something like that. Something really like pretty much when you make Riesling the right way, these wines have so much ageability. So Suan is one of the very top Riesling producer in Canada. The Roberts Block is to me one of the most iconic Riesling in Canada. So if you're looking for something special, I think that you got a name right there for you to look for. Sue Staff, Ferox, Dobbin Estates, which is a new project at DM with Peter Gamble, which is passionate about Rieslings, like when in Germany for a long time to study how they do things. And Dobbin is one of the newer project, but also producing a very high quality Riesling. So yeah, Dobbin here with the white cap and the black cap. So here we have the 2020 vintage, which was made with a very hot and dry vintage, producing the Riesling with a little bit more texture, a little bit more body. But I also had the privilege to taste the 2019, which was a colder vintage, and provide a Riesling more directional. So very interesting. And I know that Peter will do the Riesling pick in multiple steps, right? Going back in the vineyard multiple time to pick the Riesling grape at different stage of the of its maturity. So when we talk Riesling, we also have to talk about botrytis affected, and this is one of the most beautiful and gracious version, the wild ferment Riesling from Bellaterra in Niagara on the Lake are not released yet. This is the 2021, but with like a 30% of botrytis affected grapes, deliver something rich and creamy, beautiful weight, but high acidity, some nice sweetness, but very well balanced. Provide something so unique and so beautiful. So, like I mentioned earlier, like I mean, like the amount of different things that you can do with Riesling, it's endless and becomes a very versatile type of grape. So that is some producer from Ontario that I like to highlight, including Mary Nissen here, who are producing two different, very different style of Riesling. There's also Mark Pister at Fogelar Wine, who are who is a micro producer who's producing Riesling from very different single vineyard as well. He does it from the Piccone vineyard, from the Grimsby Hillside vineyard, and also a few different plot of land. So a little bit like we see with Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, where winemakers like to buy grapes from different, a little bit like Burgundy style, right? Buying grapes or having a vineyard holding in different appellation of the region. Mark does that with Riesling, and we also have some of the newcomer like Horseshoe Cellar with Scott Woody and John Daniel Steele at Horseshoe, who are doing a single vineyard Riesling Grimsby Hillside, and they are planning to do more of the single vineyard from different sub-appellation in Niagara. So a little movement here, opening up that Riesling market, that Riesling passion, that Riesling story here in Canada, which is totally alive. And I see a big opening from the wine lovers to open up to Riesling. And it wasn't the case 10 years ago. I think that I felt like people were a little shut on Riesling or not getting too excited on Riesling. And I see more and more of this excitement. So now we've talked about Ontario Riesling, which is Niagara on the Lake Niagara Escarpment, two very different sub-region in that same Niagara Peninsula region. Delivering, I would say that Niagara Escarpment delivered that very, very classic, flinty minerality, flinty, chalky type of minerality created by the terroir of the escarpment. Absolutely, to me, delivered that classic note of Niagara Riesling. On Niagara on the lake, though, which is a flatter area, different type of soil, I would say the producer are providing something a little different, a little bit more textural, a little bit more with a little bit more body. Keeping the global aspect, the global delivery of Niagara Riesling, fairly much in the same ballpark, but not as precise, flinty mineral finish that Niagara Escarpment deliver. So yeah, so that's for Niagara. Couple names to keep in mind: Albert Suan. I need to show that because Suan staff, the Roberts block is one of the Riesling that's always one of the highest Riesling that I rate every year. And Ferox and Dobbin. So Dobbin, Suan, and Cave Spring are on the escarpment, while Bellaterra and Ferox are on Niagara on the lake. Now, when it's time to talk about BC Riesling, it's a big shift. I mean, British Columbia, the Okanagan Valley is not necessarily known uh, to be a big Riesling region, but we also have some stunning producer of Riesling here in Western Canada. And couple producer to mention, it's probably one of the most iconic, oh, right here on the other side, one of the most iconic is Synchromash. So Synchromash produce many different Rieslings, different style of Riesling from different single vineyard and single block with different RS finish, some sweeter, some more drier, some botrytis. So They do the whole spectrum. They are known as the Riesling specialist, the Riesling iconic producer of British Columbia. They're located in Okanagan Falls, which is curiously a little bit more of the subregion here in British Columbia in terms of soil, is a little bit more like the escarpment. Like, I mean, it's more on the rocky volcanic soil that we have here in British Columbia. So I would say Synchromesh, it's always one name to remember in terms of BC Rieslings. Other Riesling that we really enjoy, I would say, completely at the other end of the Okanagan, and the north of the Okanagan, in the this is Tantalus. So Tantalus Vineyard in Kelowna also produce some outstanding Rieslings. Their old vines Riesling are 40 years old. There was one of the, if not the very first Riesling block planted in the Okanagan, up there on the East Kelowna slope, VQA, the sub-appellation. Stunning, stunning. It was part of one of our advent calendar part the first year, and that wine is absolutely spectacular. So yes, Tantalus makes some outstanding Rieslings, and I would say also to look for Tightrope make a fantastic Riesling on the Naramata bench here. Amazing Riesling. And just fun fact here to mention, 2024 vintage was wiped out here in British Columbia by a big freeze frost event where 95, well, 98% of the crop was completely washed by a crazy 3 to 4 day -30, where yeah, the vines either didn't survive or created like a big gap of 1 year without a crop. Here the 2024 vintage, there's barely no wines. One winery had a full barrel of Riesling. It's Tightrope, and the Tightrope Riesling, like there was something like 30 something cases made from a single vineyard in the Ramada Bench, because of the warming moderate effect of the Okanagan Lake. The position of that Riesling block survive, and this is a rare case of a 2024 BC fruits, BC grapes, BC wines from that horrific frost event that we experienced here in British Columbia. So yeah, this wine actually will be iconic forever, because barely none of the wine have been surviving here for that vintage. So yeah, Tightrope is one of the producer. Terre, which is one of the label of Terra Vista, also on the Naramata bench. Terre produced a fantastic Riesling that I had the chance to taste last year. I'm a big fan of. Down south, I can point out Intersection. Intersection is a producer of big, bold Merlot, especially, and also Cap Sauv, the Axiom, the Bordeaux blend, spectacular. But they also have a wonderful block of Riesling. Not sure what is the status since the 2024 frost. Not sure if the Riesling block have survived, but they made for 4 or 5 vintage in a row a wonderful, wonderful Riesling year in and year out. So yeah, so from BC, I can truly point out Tantalus. I mean, there's other, right? There's many other in both region. Without wanting to mention everybody, these are just names that like quickly and very instinctively come to mind in terms of BC producer and Niagara producer that we already have a feature in the club in the previous year, in wine that we really enjoy. So in BC, Intersection, Synchromesh, Tightrope, Terre. So these are all Riesling that I can highly recommend, and I rated and really high in the previous year. So yeah, all in all, in retrospective, Riesling is a wine that it is actually growing a lot in terms of marketplace, that people are beginning more and more uh, appreciative with. And if I have to not choose, but to point out one of the two main regions here in Canada, definitely Riesling is more a Niagara thing, is more because they have much more Riesling planted there. It's a grape who suit the Niagara climate, the Niagara region very, very, very well. If you ask me, they're close second with Chardonnay in that region, in that part of our wine region. I mean, Chardonnay is the very top quality, to my opinion, from Niagara, either Niagara Lake or Niagara Escarpment, but Riesling come very close second. Some can debate that they are even better suited than Chardonnay in Niagara. I mean, that's a debate that we can have, and it's very, very close. So, in terms of quality, Niagara produced truly, truly world-class Riesling. And I forget to mention Leaning Post as well, who are making some outstanding Riesling. Elias and Chuck has a little geeky stuff that he produced different style of Rieslings as well. Very interesting. So there's many to point out in Niagara. But don't forget the name of Sue and Staff and Vineland Estate are probably my two top that I will point out there. So yeah, Riesling, a passion for a lot of us. I love my Riesling. I love talking about Riesling. I love tasting Riesling. I love smelling Riesling side by side because the aromas in Riesling are so captivating. And yeah, this is my little blurb here on Riesling on International Riesling Day. So this is day 15 of us tasting different Canadian wines every day until we hit 1,000 subscribers. And if you haven't yet, click the link below, click the bell below, subscribe, join the Canadian wine love, the Canadian wine love joy, and spread the world because we truly produce outstanding world-class wine here in Canada, especially Riesling. So happy International Riesling Day, and we'll see you again tomorrow for day 16. Thank you. Have a good day.